a very big day for the United Kingdom. Today is January the 31st. Welcome our viewers here in Nigeria and around the world. It's the D-Day. We're counting down to 2300 hours later tonight when Britain will formally exit politically from the European Union. It's taking a couple of years to come down this very hard and naughty and bumpy road, and now we're down to the final hours. Today is the D-Day, and this morning, the Mayor of London, Mr. Khan, had a message where he says London is still open and that the city is still a beacon of liberal ideas, diversity, and everything else. That's the message there from Sadiq Khan. It says the UK may be leaving the EU today, but London remains a truly global European city. We continue to be a beacon for progressive ideas, for liberal values, and for decency and diversity. And we will continue to welcome people from around the world, regardless of the color of their skin, the color of their passport, or the colors of their national flag. The mayor went on to write on his Twitter handle this morning that as a time of continuing uncertainty, I want to send a particular message to the more than 1 million Europeans who have decided to make our city their home. You are Londoners. One of the Londoners is our own Juliana Olayinka, and she's live to us this morning to tee off this very big day with implications for markets, trade, and the UK economy and the rest of the world. One of the biggest political discourse is taking place with some measure of finality today. Good morning, Juliana. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Bosun. Happy Brexit Day from London.
It's a Brexit Day. Some say it's an Independence Day. Some say it's a divorce day. Whatever date it is, the day had finally arrived. So that was the message this morning on the Twitter handle of Sadiq Khan, the Mayor of London. What sense do you make of that London is still open to everyone, to business, to diversity, whatever your religion? What do you make of Mr. Khan's message?
Well, it's an interesting message, unsurprising message from Sadiq Khan. Of course, he is the Mayor of London. He's got an election coming up in a few months. But look, you know, the sentiment from London isn't the sentiment that's expressed across the country. I think the 2016 referendum and the decision for Britain to leave the EU was reaffirmed during last month's historic election victory from Prime Minister Boris Johnson. So, yes, there will be commiserations and there will be celebrations across the country this evening, depending on which side of the Brexit fence you sit. But whether or not people like it, we are leaving the European Union at 11 p.m. British time this evening. And to be honest with you, Bosun, I woke up this morning, nothing had changed. You know, the sky hadn't fallen out of the heavens. Things will remain the same. So apart from the few parties that we're expecting, there will be parties. That big patch of green just opposite Westminster, where you usually see the press pack standing, there will be the Brexit Party delivering a fantastic affair there. We're also expecting Prime Minister Boris Johnson to be delivering a speech at 10 p.m. GMT, which is 11 p.m. in Nigeria, outside of number 10 Downing Street. So that will give a very kind of historic feel to it. And of course, there will be protests. There are many protests actually expected to be taking place across London and across the country. And you definitely get a feel that, you know, it's happening, it has arrived. Britain will finally be leaving the European Union.
So let's talk about the press. What have we been reading this morning in the British press about this big departure day?
Well, I did get some newspapers for you because I do know you do like a visual. It's a mixed bag. We've got The Guardian here. The Guardian is a pretty leftist newspaper in the UK, and they've gone with a huge picture calling Britain a small island. That White Cliff are the White Cliffs of Dover. So that's just the channel that takes the UK to France. They're not happy. After 47 years of marriage, Britain are leaving the EU. We've we've got quite a right-wing paper, the Daily Mail, the Daily Fail, as some people call it. They've said it's a new dawn for Britain. They've also chosen quite a significant image of the cliffs of Dover, and they say our proud nation finally leaves the EU. Still a friend of Europe, but we are out. The Daily Express, again, quite a right-wing paper. They've gone with quite a nice picture of Britain here, and they said, yes, we did it. They're happy that the deadline has been reached. Boris Johnson sticking with his mandate. He said it will be the 31st of January, and it is. And then we've got the tabloid, the Sun newspaper, pretty popular here, probably one of the most popular papers in Britain. They've gone with a picture of Big Ben, and they say our time has come tonight at 11 p.m. It's all over the press, as you can imagine. It's all over broadcast TV. Everybody's scrambling to get interviews with everybody. And it is a pretty historic moment. I did say, you know, that nothing appears to have changed. You know, coffee doesn't taste any different. There was no mood on the tube during rush hour this morning. But this is historic. This is monumental, you know. It has happened twice in the past before, I believe in the 40s and in the 70s. Britain did decide to depart, but we're in a new era now. And I definitely think, you know, in years to come, your children, my children, this is definitely something that they will be reading and studying in their history books. This is the biggest generational change that Britain has faced since the end of World War II, and nobody knows exactly the course that Britain will be sailing down.
Juliana, I could see you just a few seconds ago checking in the markets on your phone here there in the studio. Some of the stories coming through are not looking really pretty. MarketWatch.com says Brexit is here and the rally in British assets has fizzled out. So bring us up to speed this morning. Where do we have the stock market and the sterling in the crosshairs on this Brexit D-Day?
It's funny because it is Brexit D-Day in London, but then all the attention appears to be on the coronavirus. Of course, last night, the World Health Organization officially declared this to be a global epidemic, and that's really rattled the markets. The FTSE 100, the main index here, opened about 22 points lower. The sterling not doing too bad against the dollar. It's up about 0.04 cents. So at the moment, £1 is worth about $1.30. But just before I came on air, there was some breaking news saying that the first 2 cases of coronavirus has been detected in England. Of course, the British government have been preparing dramatically for this, and we do have our first case of residents coming back on a chartered plane from Wuhan province. So that's breaking news. So that is really going to affect trade. But yes, it's Brexit Day, and I would say, you know, in terms of how the economy is looking and shaping, not too bad. We did have the Bank of England Monetary Policy Committee meeting yesterday. Mark Carney, the Bank of England governor's last stage performance, and he chose not to cut interest rates. So it does appear to feel that even though we're going into a kind of unknown Brexit trade phase 2 of the whole transition, that the economy may be bouncing back.
Very interesting day there. Again, the big story will be the outlook, I'm sure. Monday is going to be a very interesting, another big day for you, Juliana, reporting out of London the morning after, when today's developments and what have you would have sank in. Folks would have taken everything on board. They would have had a weekend. They would have listened to the Prime Minister and every other political soundbiters and all of that. So everyone will sleep over that, and there'll be this sense that the journey is not really over yet. We still have December 2020 to deal with, isn't it? Which is the what you call the transition period.
Yeah, absolutely. The transition period ends on the 31st of December 2020. Boris Johnson has 11 months to try and get a really decent trade deal. And basically what that means is an ease in exports, an ease in imports. We're only talking about the trade deal. We've yet to discuss the Irish border, which, as you can remember, in 2019 was a huge sticking point within negotiations. There's also fisheries. Fishing is a huge deal because a lot of fishermen in the UK are not happy that the EU seem to be taking up all of their fish. That's going to be a big discussion. Of course, immigration is going to be huge. But as you said, the days and the weeks pan out, we'll be getting a much more clearer picture. Boris Johnson will be delivering a speech on Monday in the House of Commons where he will start fleshing out all of the details between the trade deal. And, you know, we did have the Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo. He was in the UK yesterday on a 2-day official visit, and he said that Britain is going to be right front and centre at any trade deal post-Brexit. So there's a lot to chew on and go through, and it's going to be a tough 11 months. Some diplomats believe it's going to be an impossible task, which is why the likelihood of a no-deal final transition in January 2021 is a high possibility.
Very interesting, Juliana. I'm sure it's a very busy day and a busy weekend for you, but it'll be very interesting to hear the soundbites from Brussels and from Frankfurt when we get together on Monday morning. Is going to be another big Monday to see how the markets and investors would have priced in all this development and come up with perhaps a bit of a clearer head on Monday. Thank you so much, Juliana. Let's allow you get back into the newsroom, get yourself ready for the news crossovers all through the day and into tonight, when we'll spending some of our dinner time and post-dinner time listening to to look at the countdown, the final hour and the final minutes of this political divorce by Britain from the European Union. Thank you so much, Juliana Layinka. We appreciate your time.